Okay. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Date Night Show podcast. This is our third episode. Thank you for tuning in. Today we're going to be talking about the age-old question. Okay, I guess it's not really age-old, but should you be getting back together with your ex? And the reason why we thought about talking about this topic is because, as some of you might know, me and Daniel have dated in the past, we broke up, and we got back together. So technically, we have gone through this question ourselves. You know, whether or not to get back together with someone that you have already dated and you broke up for a reason. You know, there was a reason why you broke up, there was a reason why you ended things. So why did we get back together? And how can you guys figure out whether or not you should be going back to your ex or not? Because a lot of the times, it can be very dangerous to get into like a cycle where you're just always getting back together, always breaking up.
Dangerous territories.
Yeah. It can become a slippery slope, but there's also a way for it to be successful, like us, I guess. But yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah, I think, like you mentioned, since our topic today is going to be about getting back with your ex, and we've experienced that very much. And we have also had friends around us, or just people that we know, doesn't necessarily have to be friends of ours, but people that get back with their ex is actually quite a common occurrence, right?
Yeah,
So,
it is quite common.
hopefully it does relate to a lot of people that listen. And it's at least to me personally, I think it's very easy for you to get into this cycle, almost make it a habit of getting back and forth with your ex. You know what I mean? Like, you break up, you get back together, and from
because
that point
it's
on,
just someone that you're like comfortable around, and when you're not with them, a lot of
Yeah.
times when you break up with someone, you will feel like you miss them so much, because people say love is a drug. So you miss them so much, you miss their company so much that you just get back together without thinking about it twice, and you're just like, well, that's the person that I'm comfortable around. I feel at peace with them, and you forget about all the bad times, and that's when it's gonna be dangerous.
right? Like, it can kind of like spiral into this habit, so that you guys are like continuing this cycle of like getting back and forth. All right, so let's start with commenting on probably perhaps the psyche behind why people might get back with their ex. Because then I want to hear your opinion. Like, what are your thoughts on why people might be getting back with their ex? Or at least, we've experienced it ourselves, so you can actually tell me about like your psychology or your reasoning behind getting back. Or the feelings you felt.
Yeah, for me, it's definitely just what I said earlier. Like, in the past, when we were in high school especially, it was very, like, impulsive. We didn't really, I feel like I didn't really think about what the consequences are of getting back together with someone. And I didn't understand, like, the weight of being in a relationship. Like, being in a relationship is a huge commitment, and you cannot just, like, break up, get back together, break up, get back together. Then what is the point of saying you want to be in a relationship? Because I think, okay, yeah, sure, like, if you're not married, you're not, like, fully committed to each other, but I do think being in a relationship is quite a large commitment, and it should mean something, it should mean that you want to pursue a relationship for a long term, rather than just like, oh, let's see where it goes.
Yeah, you have responsibilities that you take on, to your partner, because then it's a commitment. It's a team game. So then, I remember I used to say this to you a lot as well, but I used to talk a lot about analogies. You remember that?
Yeah.
And I used to say, if you break up and you get back together with someone, it's almost kind of like if you were to smash a mirror, right? And then instead of fixing it or getting a new one, right, you're just taping it back up. You know what I mean? So then when you get back with your ex, it's like it's a broken mirror. It's already been shattered. You know what I mean? When you make it a conclusion that you guys are breaking up and you make it a fact, it's like, we're done, we're through. The mirror is broken. You can't go back and just fix that and just tape it all up and be like, oh yeah, we're back together, we're happy, everything's good. And I actually really like that analogy, because it felt like it was able to deliver the feelings I was going through when we were going through that cycle of like getting back, breaking up.
Yeah, because I mean, yeah, I'm sure it hurt you a lot, but even me, it makes me lose trust in the relationship. The more you break up, the more you start doubting, oh, every time we have a fight, we're gonna break up. And that's something that you should never feel when you're in a relationship. Like now, I never feel that. When we fight, it's like, it's just a fight. Like we'll get over it. We'll talk about it, you know? But in the past, if we fight, it's like life or death. Like tomorrow, like we fight today, tomorrow you don't know if I'm still gonna be your girlfriend, you know?
Yeah.
That's so, like...
It's so toxic.
There's no feeling of security that I think security is like number one importance in relationship next to trust. Like those two are really important, and you also lose trust in your partner because you're just like, oh, any small thing we can break up, so why should I tell them everything? I don't need to tell them everything because we might break up again because we've already broken up like 10 times. Like, you know what I mean?
No, you're right, because if you're not secure in that relationship, you're not comfortable.
Yeah, you're not.
And you can't always be open, and so like everything kind of intertwined, right? Like if you're secure, you have some trust with each other, and so everything bounces off together. So I think, yeah, it's like it's really hard to like pick up broken pieces, you know, and just put it back together, like you said, right?
Yeah.
But okay, enough with the analogies.
No, I think your mirror analogy is actually pretty good.
Thank you.
It sums up like the feelings that I had like
right?
when we
and it makes you mad anxious.
Went through that cycle. Yeah.
And that's all good. And I'm sure you were anxious. I was anxious, and I already had like anxiety problems at school. Remember? So it's like having a relationship with you and then going through that anxiety phase after we break up. It's not healthy on the whole like mental thing.
And I think a great way that we could have prevented that was just to like not be so selfish. Like I definitely was really selfish back in the day. Like I would just think whatever I'm feeling is the way to go, and I wouldn't evaluate how you feel. And so that would really make things like way more one-dimensional, and I wouldn't think about the consequences as much. I'd just be like, oh, right now I'm angry and I'm gonna act on that emotion. Like whether or not you should be like, it's okay to feel a lot of emotions, but in order to like communicate them or act on them in a healthy way is to communicate it to your partner, and not in a way where you're like blaming them or you're telling them this is the last straw, like unless it really is, you know, because like I just didn't think about like the long-term effects. Like if I break up with you, is it gonna be the last time I'm gonna break up with you? I'm just like, no, I'm angry right now, so I'm gonna make a statement.
Yeah,
like that should be the last thing you do when you're like trying to make a statement, is breaking up. Like that's not gonna make any statements. That's just gonna hurt the relationship.
Yeah.
It's gonna hurt me as well. Like even if I'm doing it, it's not just gonna hurt you, it's gonna hurt me. Because we both are then ended up in a broken relationship, and then we get back together again, and then there's no trust.
Yeah, it doesn't get better, it only gets worse.
Yeah.
But we don't obviously think about that as much, and then we kind of like blindly get back, and then the trust is not really there. If it's on a scale of 100, if it started off as 100, it only ever went down. It never like went back up, which is terrible. Which is like, actually terrible.
So I think if you're in a cycle where you are like what we went through in high school, where you're like constantly breaking up and getting back together, just really try to take a break for a while. A while is in like a year or two, because what's not gonna help it is just like constantly making like fake promises, or like making like promises that you have already proven to not be able to keep. Like, oh, this is the last time. Like, why not just let that break settle in, live your own lives separately, and then come back together if you really do still feel that person is for you. That's when you know that they're really like someone that you want to be with. Because when you're constantly in a cycle of breaking up and getting back together, you don't have time to think about whether or not you actually want to be with them. Your mind is just so used to being with that person that you are just like, that's like what you're used to, and you just want to be with them. And then if you break up, you realize how much you miss them, and then you just want to be with them. And that's very impulsive, because you're just basing that idea of wanting to be in a relationship with them based on the fact that you miss them, or based on the fact that you think it will be better with no evidence, you know? Because at that time, we were both struggling with a lot of things. We were both really not good at communicating. We both had very toxic traits to each other, like lying, you know, like lying, like what else? I'm gonna list some traits that we
those traits, you don't think about the traits as much. And
Yeah.
just going back to the comfortable like company that you used to have.
Yeah, so you need to like take a real break, like a year or more at least, in order to like really figure out yourself and see if you actually want to be with that person and see if you have actually changed. Recognize the faults that you have made yourself. Recognize what you don't like about what the reasons that made your relationship so rocky and so back and forth with your partner. So the negative traits of yourself and the negative traits of your partner, and remember those things, work on it, and when you eventually want to be with them again, if you do in the future, in 1 year, remember this is the 1 year rule, in 1 year at least, you have to see if they have changed. You have to see if you have changed. You have to see if your dynamic has changed. Or are you guys still like the same as before? Yeah. Because if it's the same, then it's not worth it. Because you're just going to go back into the cycle. And you really have to like communicate it with your partner if you're like willing to make those sacrifices and willing to like really work on yourself, work on the relationship together in order to build it to like a next level so that you get out of that rut. Like you're in a rut where you're like constantly breaking up and getting back together. You need to elevate above that, and that takes a lot of work. Yeah, so you need to see if that's worth it for you. But it's definitely not impossible because we've done it, but it's hard. It's not something that's easy because you can get really used to being in a toxic cycle. Right, Daniel? Do you agree with me?
Yeah.
Or are you just reading? Are you listening to what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously you give really, like, that's a solid point. But, you know, it's like, to be honest, like, I feel like people don't really care about that kind of advice because they're just gonna do what they're gonna do at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like, even...
Right, so what advice would you give then?
No, I think as in, like, the advice you gave is good, but I don't expect a lot of people to actually, like, listen to that. Because, like...
So what advice would you give?
I would just say... I think the advice of staying away for at least a year is really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Because whatever you do in that year, it's just... Whatever you do, it's gonna make it better. Like,
yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
But the only thing is, people are impulsive, like you said.
Yeah.
So, 9 out of 10 times, you're not gonna wait a year. Like, it's really hard to do that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's really hard to stay away for a year. So at least if you can do it and be disciplined enough for like at least a month, you're on the right track. And a year's gonna come before you know it.
Yeah, take it day by day. Take it day by day. No, but the thing is, people are only not going to take this advice if they don't really care about the problem. If they really are looking to solve this problem, and they're really looking to get out of this like breakup, get back together, breakup, get back together, and they do really love their partner, and they're wondering why is it not working, then they'll try, you know. So they will take this advice if they're really desperate. If they're not desperate, then yeah, keep staying in your toxic relationship, you know. Like, but then I'm just saying that to people who actually care, not to those stupid people.
Well, yeah, okay, yeah. I mean,
so it's interesting how you say that no one will listen to that advice.
I mean, they're not necessarily stupid.
But that's what we've done.
They're just following their heart.
But that's what we've done.
Yeah.
So how is it that hard? It can't be that hard if we've done it.
Yeah, okay, but I do want to mention the fact that the very toxic cycle that we went through was a period where we were both quite immature and we were still growing as a person ourselves. So it definitely varies very much from like people to people, you know what I mean? Depending on the age, gender, location, everything. But I think overall the experiences that we're sharing have to be taken with a grain of salt because like the dynamic was very different, you know? Like I would go to my friends, for example, and the kind of advice my friends give, terrible. And communication
but you don't know what age people are watching. Maybe we have some teenager viewers, or maybe some adults are still going through these problems.
Yeah, no, the reason why I'm saying that, babe, is because at least for us, when we were at that age, when you mentioned that communicating with your partner or having an open communication within that relationship while you guys are dating is super important. The reason why we didn't have that as much is because I just go to my friends. You go to your friends. You know what I mean? It was like everything we did together a lot of times also was with our friends group. We had the same friends group as well, and like I would often talk about my feelings with my friends rather than
Yeah.
you, and that's a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so an advice I'd give to people within that age where like your social bracket, your social group is like majority of like what you do, you know, it's school and social, you know what I mean? It's important to make sure like when you do talk to your friends, you also do talk a little bit to your partner, you know, about your feelings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. That's really important. Yeah, regardless of if you're in school or in work, maybe you met your, boyfriend, girlfriend in work and you have the same friend group as well. You could go
Exactly.
through the same thing,
You could be an adult and
You just
have
talk
toxic
to,
friends.
I'll just go talk to my female colleagues and he'll just go talk to his male colleagues and then we won't talk to each other. It can still happen in adulthood. But whoever is going through that, yeah, for sure, just like try not to rely on venting your feelings to other people, and like, cause that's not really gonna solve anything. It might make you feel better in the moment, cause you're like, yeah, my friends agree with me, But that's it. Like, it's not gonna solve anything within your relationship.
And always remember when you do go to your support structure, right? They're most
They're
likely gonna
biased.
be biased.
They're
and
very
They're gonna
biased.
give you like, oh, we support you.
Yeah.
Oh, everything you do is good. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
fuck that guy. Like, he's not worth your time.
Yeah.
Like, they're just gonna try and like make you feel better. Because if you break up, for example, and you're sad, and if your friends see you sad, their initial reaction is just gonna be like instinctively, oh, let's make her feel better. It's like, oh, forget about him. Like, let's just distract you. Oh, you know what? Better yet, let's hit up the clubs. Forget about that dude. There's so many more fishes out there. 9 out of 10 times, that's like the usual things I used to hear.
Yeah.
You know,
The advice
there's-
that your friends give are gonna be very
Very biased.
very one-sided. They're only gonna think about your own happiness, which is good. You need friends that will look out for you, but you also need to know what you want and whether or not you're committed to the relationship. It's not like, obviously, like, let your friends cheer you up and then go back to your partner and talk about why you were upset. Otherwise, like, it's not gonna go anywhere. If you just let your friends go like, oh yeah, just dump him, and you actually just dump him without thinking about anything, then it's like, that's it. Like, you've broken another wall of trust.
That's a good point, because I want to share an anecdote that I just thought of, talking about like how friends can, I guess, like manipulate slash give you advice, but it's just poor advice.
Yeah.
Because there was in the past when I don't even remember at what age or at what point of our relationship, because we broke up and got back so many times, but at one of those moments it was like it became so easy to break up
Yeah.
because of like that comfortability of that cycle, that like I remember like I was with my friends going out for lunch, and then it was literally like, oh dude, like you're always in this relationship, like you're never single, and so like and most of them are single in that age, right? And it's like, oh dude, like if we go hang out with like other girls, or like if we go out, if we go like go have parties, like you're never gonna be able to do anything because then you're like tied to this girl. And then it was this kind of like thing, and then guys at that age is like all they care about is like girls, and it's like, dude, like how are you in a relationship at like 16, 17? Like you gotta go explore, you gotta like go meet new people. And those like conversations that I have with my friends very easily manipulates my way of thinking. I'm like, they're right. I've never like really experienced like different kinds of people, or like different kinds of girls. I don't really know what my type really is. You know what? Fuck it, I'm gonna break up. I'm gonna text her right now. I'm gonna text her. You know what? It's not really working out. Like just like come up with like some like bullshit explanation. But the true fact is like, emotionally speaking, I'm just not really feeling this relationship right now. You know what? There's a party on Friday and it's a Wednesday. I'm gonna break up with her today, so that I'm gonna give at least a Thursday gap, and then it justifies what I'm about to do on Friday. Go to that party.
Wait, did you do that in high school?
Obviously no. I never went to that party and like did anything. You know what's really funny?
Yeah.
You know what ended up happening? Okay, let's just assume. I obviously don't know the exact date. Let's assume I did break up with you on Wednesday. Let's say I texted you know what, it's not working out, and Thursday there's a gap, and then on Friday it's like, oh, I go to the party. But that Thursday gap was actually worse for me, because like I'm like,
You're just
oh
mad
shit.
crying.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I'm so sad. And I go to that party and I'm doing nothing. I'm like, you know what I actually did? I actually cleaned the house. I wasn't even feeling like I was gonna drink. I didn't even want to do anything. Like all my friends like having fun, like ooh, hey, like, nice to meet you, like meeting other people. I'm just like, now I'm finally single and I have the ability to do that. But you know what? I'm gonna sweep the floors. Why? Because I'm fucking sad. I'm so sad. And all I can think about is you. And I just miss you. Like, all the other girls in that room, just like, nothing comes into, like, your mind, you know? Like, it's actually a really funny thing. But then, guess what? Too late by then, you know?
Yeah.
And then all I can feel at the moment is just regret.
Yeah.
And it's like...
Because you don't think about the consequences. You just think it's going to be fine. But
you get so obsessed with, like, the before. You know, it's like, oh my god. Like, how exciting is the thought of, like, going to, like, a party and being able to, like, having the status of, like, I'm single. And then just, like, you start mingling with other girls. Like, hey, it's, like, nice to meet you. But then, like, you know, it's like, I don't know why at the time, the thought of, like, being in a relationship meant that, like, you were on a leash. You don't necessarily have to think like that, because, like, you can still be in a relationship and go meet other people, make new friends, as long as your intentions are pure and your intentions are clear that this is a platonic relationship, you know, even if it's the other gender, or not.
Yeah,
doesn't matter, right? It depends
really
on
true.
You know, your sexual
really true.
preference. But
at the same time, I do think it is important to, like, validate those feelings. Like, if you do feel like you need to meet other people and you want to explore other people, then you should do it. But, like, you should reflect on it first and realize that you are gonna lose this one person. Like, you lose this person in order to gain other people. But how do you know that other people are gonna be better than this person? You know, so you gotta.
You can't gauge that, to be honest.
Yeah, you can't. But it's just like it's okay to do those things as long as you're like thinking about it beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to comment on those things sometimes, because, like,
it's person
relationship
by person,
is not like you can't just, like, put numbers on it and you'd be like, oh yeah, these are, like, the statistics. But, like, even if you make a decision and you, like, kind of regret it, it's okay to feel that, because, like, there is always a chance, but that chance needs to be, like, you know, you need to work properly on it.
It smells like cigarettes in here.
I know, because people smoke in this building. They literally don't give a shit.
Yeah, it's so annoying.
Cigarettes smell like shit, by the way.
Yeah, it's so bad.
If you want nicotine.
So tired. Also, we're filming this podcast at, like, 10:50 and we haven't eaten anything, like, at night. 10:50 p.m. and we haven't eaten dinner.
And we've been working the whole day, so.
Yeah. Well, I haven't done anything, but yeah.
I mean.
Today's my day off. But anyways, yeah, that's a good.
Wow, look how hardworking we are. Even on your day off, you're like, oh, let's do a podcast.
Look how hardworking we are for the podcast, so please subscribe.
But then there's 6 users. I mean, not users, 6 plays.
Yeah, 6 plays, guys.
If I played it twice, that's already like 33% of our viewership.
No, maybe we have more on YouTube, but
no, yeah, I mean, that's not the important part. Yeah. The important part is, whatever we say, there must be at least one person out there who's like, you know what? I appreciate their fucking advice. It's helped me.
If you're that one person, please comment.
If you're that one person, comment, we'll give you free shit. That's an incentive.
That's an incentive. If you comment something, we'll give you free.
100%. We're like, oh,
free heat
please comment. It's either gonna be our friend, or, like, they just don't comment. So, if you comment, we'll give you free shit.
Yeah. Don't hold us accountable.
Is that illegal to do?
We'll give you a discount on Heat Labs. Use code DNS podcast for 20% off Heat Labs merchandise.
Oh.
Hey.
That's gonna prove that people actually watch.
Yeah.
We should give, like, a hefty one, 50%.
No, 20%.
Okay. That would literally lose business for us.
50%, we're gonna lose money. 20%, please.
20%
is already really good. Yeah.
If you watch 3 episodes in a row, 60%. Okay, no.
How would you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we should, like, cut in here and just be like, this episode is sponsored by Heat Labs, which is also our own company.
Mm-hmm.
Use code DNS podcast.
No, we should put the code information at the end, so let me know that they listened all the way to the end. That's how people do it, right?
No, people put it in the middle.
Oh, okay.
Always in the middle.
That's alright. Yeah, do it in the middle then.
Should I do it now?
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Use code DNS podcast for 20% off. Oh, you interrupted my really good ad break. Guys, this is an ad break, but it's by our own company, Heat Labs. You can use code DNS podcast for 20% off our Heat Labs merchandise. That is code DNS podcast for 20% off anything on our Heat Labs website.
If you don't know how to spell that, it's gonna be in the description.
It's just DNS and then podcast.
You know, some people want to make sure that there's like no caps. Is there any space?
Anyways, back to it.
Yes.
What else can we talk about?
So, many people might be wondering, you know, like, well, I do feel love for this person, but we're broken up, and I'm not sure how the other person feels. You know what I mean?
Can you
Like,
hold my head?
you want to get back together, because this is what I often felt. When you break up, it's almost like you're strangers again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I can't even really text them anymore. You know, you can't be the first person to message them and be like, hey, how are you?
Yeah.
That's just awkward. You know, you're like, you have ego as well. You don't want to be like the first one to be like, hey, you want to hang out again? You know, so it's.
Come closer to the mic.
So some people might be wondering, how you know, in those moments, how do you think the other person feels? Well, okay, better yet, I'm gonna ask you, right? When we were broken up, right? This is what I often went through myself. How did you feel? Did you like still have feelings for me while we were broken up?
Of
Were you doing
course.
things on purpose to try and make me jealous? Were you trying to like, you know, get back at me in some way? Were you angry? What were your emotions? Like, just tell me during that phase that we were broken up. How did you feel?
I go through phases. I think I went through phases where I was really sad. And I'm like, damn, I really miss him, you know, I want to text him. And then whenever I see you, I like try to do things to get your attention. Never works though, because he's like really good at hiding it. He like doesn't even look at me. But then you told me after that you always look at me.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there's, you know, in my peripheral vision, right? With my tiny fucking Asian eyes. But in my peripheral vision, like I'd be typing in class, I'm like, oh wow, I'm so hardworking. But in my vision, like my peripheral vision, I see you doing something with another guy, and I'm just like, I just start typing just random stuff. I'm not even typing a word. It's not a sentence. I'm just typing to make it seem like I'm typing. But in my head, I'm like, what the fuck is she doing? Who is he talking? Who is she talking to? Why are they touching? Why are they touching hands? What is she trying to do? And I'm just like mad typing while I'm thinking all of those things.
And at the same time, I'm just thinking, oh, he doesn't give two shits about me.
Yeah. That's the funny thing, you know. And then like I remember like like someone sitting next to me like would look at my computer screen and you just see like a bunch of letters just like spelled out like some random ass stuff, and they'd be thinking, well, this guy's crazy. But no, I'm just you know hung up on the whole like I still like her, but like I bet she doesn't. You know what I mean? Yeah. So hey, the fact of the matter is, we both still had feelings for each other. We were both just too keen on trying to hide it. You know what I mean? It was almost like a competition. It's like, oh, who's gonna break that wall first?
Yeah, true.
But like,
oh, that's so.
You know what?
That was so weird. Icky.
Some people might think that's toxic, but I think it was kind of exciting. It's exciting in a weird way, like not exciting in a good way. Like, oh, I'm excited to go to Ocean Park. No, not like that. It's more like I'm excited to
Really, it was so
to go bungee
devastating
jumping.
for me.
You know what I mean? It's like I'm like hella nervous, but that nervousness was kind of exciting for me. You know what I mean? Like while we're broken up, we'd still have mutual friends, right? And like the same friends group, so we'd still hang out sometimes or see each other. Or like after school, we're like, I'm waiting for my friend, and you're in my vicinity, or we're in the same class, whatever. It's just like every time I saw you in my vision, I was so keen on like, oh my god, what do I do? What should I do? How should I act? What should I be thinking? What should I be doing? Should I go talk to like other girls to like try and make her jealous? Like all of those things, you know? It's like, but that was kind of exciting.
No.
But dumb at the same time. Like
it's not exciting.
you can't. You're so occupied with like your partner, you know, like that's all you think about, which is not great sometimes, you know. It can really hurt you.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking, during those phases that I was broken up, I was so desperate for like someone to help me. I just wanted to be able to like find the answer. But the truth is,
answer to what though?
There is no answer. Like answer to how I can get your feelings back to me. You know what I mean? Every time we broke up, I was like, okay. How can I make her attracted to me again? You know what I mean? Trust me. If now, okay, I don't think anyone's gonna listen to this and actually do this, but if you do, you have to let me know because there's this person called Brad Browning. And my friends, all my really close friends are definitely gonna know what I'm referring to right now. But there's this guy called Brad Browning on YouTube who gives relationship advice, and I used to watch all of these videos from these guys, not just him, talk about how you can get back with your ex. And this guy Brad Browning would literally say things like covert jealousy and give you strategies on how you can get your partner to feel attracted to you again.
No.
But the truth is, that stuff is low-key a waste of time. But honestly, for people who are feeling really desperate, it's gonna help. It's gonna help.
But that's how they make money. They make money
True. Don't subscribe to them.
Yeah.
Like, don't subscribe to that idea.
They're basically like, not manipulating. They're like, what's the word?
They're a bit scammy. They're a bit sus because they're like feeding off your desperation.
They're feeding off how desperate you are, and they know you're young and impressionable.
Yeah.
And they know they can like convince you to do what they want you to do, but it's really not. Like, every person is different. How do they have the answers to everything? Like, no one has the answers to everything, really. Like, this is just our advice, Don't even like.
Yeah. No, my opinion is those relationship gurus online.
Yeah.
Like 90% is full of shit.
Yeah, it's full of shit.
Like,
because how do they know?
Yeah, I mean, they might have like a lot of experience.
And you can't have you can't put everything into like techniques, like naming it like covert. What is it?
Covert jealousy.
Like, okay, like dating is not like you don't need to study to like be able to date someone. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, like the second
it's between two people. Why are you bringing in a third person?
The second the relationship becomes like a whole game, like a strategy game, that's when like you're putting in too much like wasted energy. It's not worth the time. During that time, you might as well study about Bitcoin, or you might honestly, because that's probably gonna be way more helpful. Like, looking at videos about Brad Browning, it's a waste of time. Instead, what you should do is listen to DNS podcasts and take our advice on it.
No, but the thing is, we're not really like giving like advice for everybody. We're just giving advice to people who have gone through what we have gone through. We're giving it based on like our own experiences and not based on like trying to summarize how everyone in the world is gonna feel about this one thing. Because definitely not everyone goes through the same thing that we go through, but we've gone through this, so we're reflecting on it. And if you guys like listening to stories, or if you like just hearing about other people's opinions, then this is good. We're not telling you like this is what you should do. It's just like our opinions, our experiences,
Yeah.
That's what we're like here to do, like share, not like teach. Definitely not teach.
Okay, I want to have a bit of a slight discussion about okay, so this is what I personally felt post breakups.
Yeah.
So then post breakup reflections. I want to talk about the post-breakup scenarios, because then the way I perceived how you felt post-breakup was like you were very chic, very cool, like it didn't really faze you as much. You were like, I'm moving on, I'm gonna go like look at other dudes, I'm gonna just live my life. And I was often angry at that actually, because like when you were like mingling with other dudes, or like it seemingly, it might not be a fact because I don't know how you felt. Seemingly, you were like really cool with how you felt about a relationship. You're like, oh, I'm done with that. I'm moving on. I'm gonna like what was that phrase for it? Like, you're gonna get over someone by dating, or like getting like dating another person.
Rebound.
I felt like you had that rebound mentality quite a lot, and I was like, the contrast was huge there. Because for me, post breakup, I would be like, I'm gonna work on myself. I'm gonna hit the gym up. I'm gonna try and like distract myself, not with like other girls, but I'm gonna spend more time with my friends. Try and like be more holistic, study, maybe like work out. Spend more time on the things I like, the hobbies I like, which were sports, and I did a lot of that. I picked up like so many sports, and actually that could have been a good thing for me. But I was more keen on working on myself because I wanted to make myself more attractive. On the other end. But then. How did you feel post breakup? Did you want to work on yourself, or were you trying to like distract yourself from thinking about me?
Distract.
Yeah.
I think it was like distraction, but also like, how you said like when you're single, you suddenly have like access to so many more things. So I was like, I need to take advantage of the fact that I'm single now, because I'm always in a relationship with you. So I'm like, if I'm single, I need to like meet as many guys, flirt with as many people as I want.
Jesus Christ.
Like I don't even like you, but I'm gonna flirt with you. Because when I'm in a relationship, I do zero flirting with other people. So when I'm not in a relationship, I'm like flirting all the time. Because Daniel, when he's in a relationship, when we were in high school, he would flirt with anybody. It doesn't even matter. But then if he's single,
is that true?
He doesn't flirt with anybody. That doesn't make sense, right? Like that was weird. That's my mentality of how I saw it. But yeah, when I was in a relationship, I would never flirt with people. So then when I'm not in a relationship, I'm like, time to just talk to every boy in town. Yeah, that's how I felt.
You know, I used to think that was actually kind of a good thing because it was very easy for me to target you as like the enemy.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, fuck her. Wow, look at her just like going around, just like I'm just not even in the picture anymore. You know, and that was like that was very easy for me to like turn my emotion into anger.
Yeah, like start hating me.
Yeah, but in a sense that sometimes you kind of need that because when you break up, it's like so easy to think about the good times.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, like, but we never really had toxic moments. We never had toxic traits. But the truth was, we were very toxic to each other. We fought all the time. We had like arguments like here and there. But like I never thought about those. And so like when my emotions turned to anger or like hate or frustrations, it was easier for me to like stay away from you. You know, and that could be helpful for people like you said in the beginning. If you want to keep some distance, 6 months, a year away from your ex, it's important to know that you've had plenty of bad times. There's a reason why you guys broke up.
Yeah.
There is a reason. So actually reflect on that reason, and think about like, okay, was that reason like a really bad one? Was it a good reason? And if it's a good reason, are we gonna break up again because of that reason?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because then if you are gonna break up again for the same reason, then don't do it.
I'm pretty sure we did that like multiple times.
Yeah, we did that
the
a lot.
exact same reason.
Yeah. We just don't really think
and
about.
It literally exhausts you over time.
It really does. It's so like draining on your emotional well-being.
It is.
Like you're just constantly like drama heaven.
And babe, I used to think like if I can't love myself, I can't love other people. You know what I mean? That's why like when I was single, I wasn't like batting an eye at other people because like I was like, well, I gotta work on myself. I'm still like caught up on you. I still have feelings for you. So for me personally, I thought it was like not fair for the other person, you know, because they have feelings too. And so if I went ahead and like met some other girl, like dated them, it was like I still have feelings for you though, so that doesn't really work that way.
Yeah,
you know, it's like I can't love two people at the same time.
Yeah. Well, that's very mature, actually. I think I'd do the same thing now. No, I wouldn't. No, but yeah, that's very mature. I guess it just depends on your like personality type. Yeah, because I think that the way that I grow a lot is through people. Like through a lot of my bad relationships, I've learned who I was as a person. Through a lot of really like off or unhealthy or weird guys, I would see like what I can learn from those relationships, what I can take away from those relationships. And I think I've grown from those relationships.
Good, because I was about to ask you, if you, in this current moment, we broke up, would you do some of the things that you did back in high school? For example, would you do certain things like, oh, I'm gonna like go like date a bunch of dudes or like meet a bunch of dudes or flirt with a bunch of dudes to try and like get attention, make him jealous? You know what I mean? Because when you used to do that in high school, I used to think like, what a fucker, because I was like, that's so disrespectful to me.
But I don't think in high school I was really doing it to make you jealous, honestly. It was really about you.
It probably wasn't that.
It was more 100%. About me.
It
was more like what I wanted to do.
And I used to think that was selfish.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so I would probably still do the same thing, because it's like if I'm not with you, then I should find the person that I want to be with.
So then how do you feel about like the whole respect? Like, do you think?
Well, it's none of your business, isn't it?
Right. But then to me, it's like we were once lovers, right?
Yeah.
And so like breaking up doesn't mean that you're suddenly like, oh, like this person does not exist. Like they still exist to you. So like the least you could do is be respectful and give them time to get over it.
Now I would for sure be way more respectful in the way that I would not rub it in your face. Like,
I would like at least hide it.
I would just hide. Yeah, I would just hide it. Like, you know, some of my friends, they just don't tell their exes that they're dating new people. Like.
But that could be a bad thing. Like,
Yeah.
it could come around to
No, it
slapping your
couldn't,
face.
because like you're just friendly with. Let's say we're exes, right? We just broke up. I'm friendly with you. We're friendly because we ended it on good terms, and we're both dating other people. And we just don't tell each other that we're dating other people to not like cause drama.
Yeah. That
like-
obviously like.
Like, why do you need to know? You don't need to know. I don't need to rub it in your face.
But like not knowing that, not knowing your intentions, might like I might perceive it in a bad way. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, why did I have to hear this from other people? You know what I mean?
But you're not
But,
gonna. 'Cause
yeah.
we don't have any mutual friends.
But the
Like,
truth,
let's
yeah,
say that.
But
you
the
know?
truth
Let's
is
say-
like,
Yeah.
when you do break up, you're not strangers, but you do become this kind of separate entity. You know. So some of the things that the other person is doing is true. Yeah, I would agree
Yeah.
that it's not really my business, but still it does affect me emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So then, I was more like, oh, she really does not respect me as a person because like she clearly doesn't care about the feelings I'm feeling post breakup. Because I was very wary of how you felt. I was like, I'm sure she's also.
We have
going
very
through, like,
different perspectives on
Yeah,
that.
yeah, that's true.
Very different perspectives. Because even to this day, I would do the same thing. I don't go back on my word. Like I think you have no right dictating what I do after we break up.
That's
When
fair.
we're together, I'm very loyal.
Mm.
You're not.
What?
Back then, you were not.
Back then, you
But
gotta
yeah.
make it clear.
Yeah, I'm making it clear. But yeah, so it's kind of like I have the freedom to do whatever I want because we're not together, and I'm sure a lot of people agree with me on that. So I don't think a lot of people.
I mean, it. Yeah.
Okay, I mean we'll see. Maybe some people agree with you.
There's people be like, what the fuck, Audrey? Or like, what the fuck, Daniel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but you know, I'm gonna mention a friend's name, but you are gonna blur it out.
Okay.
Daniel.
Do I have this
so
editing skills for that?
yeah, just beep it. So,
Uh huh.
she did not. She was dating, and no one's.
Alright, he's just in the dark.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think that's good because
Okay.
they're not friends. They're just like friendly, as in like they catch up time to time
Right.
via text.
Right.
'Cause-
Right.
You know, so it's like why does he need to know? Like,
No, that's fair. That's actually fair.
Right?
Yeah.
and like who's gonna tell him? Am I gonna tell him? No. Gonna tell him? No.
True.
Right.
True. I mean, like.
So why rub it in? And it's not. Do you think being disrespectful? Well, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Right?
I don't perceive it that
That's
way.
why.
at all.
That's
Yeah.
why I think you wouldn't think that to now. Because back then it's different. Because our circle was so small.
But I do want to say it's also because like I don't care about him. So then like I'm just not biased at all. But I do care about a little bit. So like her not telling him, I'm like, yeah, that's fine. But then for example, if it was like and dated another boy, I'd start feeling quite protective of my friend. You know, like I know that she's dating another dude now. Should I tell? But at the same time, I'm like, I'm not gonna, because I do want to respect her, and I also want to respect Alex in the sense that like it doesn't do any
It's really
good
not.
to him.
Yeah. It doesn't do any good to you, and
No.
it's none of his business anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Technically.
And how's it my business?
Exactly.
You know?
So that's why I'm saying like I would move on, obviously, because
Yeah.
life goes on.
Life goes on.
But I wouldn't like rub it in your face. I wouldn't tell you. I wouldn't post it on social media because I don't post like honestly, I don't really post people I date on social media unless I'm like really serious about them.
Right.
Like you. Like you're probably the only person that's ever showed up on my social media. You can blur out his name.
That's gonna be beep the fuck out.
But yeah, that's it. Like I literally don't show anybody else on my social media.
Why'd you say his full name?
Yeah, I just had to.
Alright. Yeah. No, I don't care about it. Yeah, I think those reflections are. It's fair. You know,
Yeah.
you gotta see it from both
Yeah, you gotta see it
perspective.
from both perspectives.
Because oftentimes I think the biggest thing about like breaking up is that like you both have no fucking clue how the other person's feeling all of a sudden. You know, it's like I felt like I knew you the most, but as soon as we break up, I'm like, wow, I have no fucking clue what she's thinking or what she's going through or like
Yeah.
what her life is like right now.
Yeah.
But honestly, you gotta respect that.
Yeah.
And
It's
you
none
gotta
of
be
your
able to be
business
like, you know what,
anymore.
I'm gonna distance myself too, rather than like trying to creep around and be like, oh, come back to me. You gotta realize when you're desperate, take a fucking step back. Because everything you're doing when you're desperate is actually pushing them further away from you.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't think about that because we all care about our own feelings and we're too
impulsive to be like, I'm gonna take a step back.
There's a good clip from the first episode of Daniel saying, push him all the way away into the sea or something like that. There's a really good clip. I'm gonna find it. But yeah, that's from the first episode. So you can tell Daniel is very, very passionate about that.
I am Brad Browning's disciple. I've learned a lot. No, but honestly, if you are broken up and you have thoughts about getting back with them, or you have thoughts about reconnecting, rekindling, communicate with them, see where you guys are at in your own space.
Yeah, reflect for yourself first.
Respect the distance.
Yeah.
Don't just jump on shit. Just be like, you know what? How long has it been? You know, has it been a day? Has it already been 80 hours? Oh my god. No, but like you gotta just be like, you know what? Stop. Like the thing is like. It's very natural to think about them constantly.
Yeah.
But what's not natural is to act on it constantly.
Yeah.
So be respectful to yourself and to each other,
yeah.
to the other person too, and be like, you know what? I'm gonna take a step back, go work out, go take a fucking run, go for a shower, hang out with my friends.
Go date new people.
Do your own thing. Do your own thing for a while.
Date new people.
Yeah. You guys are not together anymore. Yeah. Do your own thing for a while. If you guys somehow reconnect and get back together like we did, great. Things might work out again, but you gotta respect that distance. You gotta give each other time.
Give each other time.
Time
heals everything.
Time does.
You guys like my hair today?
So that's the conclusion of our podcast today.
Thank you so much for listening and watching. If you're on Spotify and YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow our Spotify for weekly uploads. We upload every Saturday, so don't forget that. And we will see you next time.
If you have any questions, any kind of feedback or comment, please let us know.
And email it to us at datenightshowpod@gmail.com.
It makes us slightly sad when we check our emails and there's nothing. Not really, but we would be very, very happy if we did get a feedback or a comment or be like a request.
Yeah.
So do that. We'll wrap it up. Good night. We're getting the fuck out.
Yeah, I'm so hungry and we're so tired. It's 11:20. Bye.
Bye.